Welcome to the Kai Greene Effect.
Vlad, are you okay, man?
Yeah, man, I'm good.
Smile. You seem so stern these days, man.
Nah, man,
I,
I'm
ne-
good.
I never see you smile anymore. Smile, brother. We have a good time.
Of
Good time
course, of
today.
course. Always a good time.
Yes,
So,
sir.
so Kai, we got this Olympia week right now, right? Olympia is back, and how do you feel about it?
The Olympia is it's a it's an amazing monument to some successful work, from a long, long time ago, a vision long, long ago. Joe Weider and his brother Ben, I think, were uh, pioneers with establishing the business model and the opportunity to develop a platform that, you know, a lot of us get a chance to get exposed to and stand on today. Uh, Joe Weider had his vision of working with fitness, presenting the best, pushing the boundaries of what, elite level fitness can look like, and sharing that concept of health, wellness, fitness, and extreme appearance of it. He shared it all over the world and
Yeah,
built his companies.
yeah,
Um,
definitely did build a huge company out of that. This is interesting
yeah.
right now, right? This is interesting, Olympia, because if you look at different eras, right? When Ronnie Coleman was competing, he was 8 years straight Mr. Olympia, right? Then it was Jay Cutler, basically. Then Phil Heath, 7 years, right? But now we have on the Olympia stage, basically since Phil Heath lost, there were like six different or even seven Mr. Olympias already after him, right? We talking about Brandon Curry, Sean Roden who passed away, of
Sean
course.
Roden, yeah.
But
Sean
then we
Roden.
have we have Hadi, we have Derek, and we have Samson, and
Samson Doda, yeah.
and then
Yeah.
of course Big Ramy as well. But Big Ramy is not competing this year. But
Don't
this,
forget Big Ramy.
I know, man. So with this year specifically, at the same time,
Mm,
there's going to be four Mr. Olympias on stage. Like that I don't think that ever happened like that.
yeah.
I mean,
Hmm.
that's different.
Well, hold on now, because I mean, let's see. There was a time where you had Jay on stage competing at the Olympia
Uh-huh.
as a past Mr. Olympia and vying for a right to kind of reseat himself at the throne, top of the throne. You had Dexter Jackson, who had been Mr. Olympia at a time before that, got a chance to stand on the stage and, present some really solid claims as to why he should have been Mr. Olympia at that time. You had,
Phil.
yeah, you had,
Uh,
you
Phil,
had,
Phil Heath, yeah. So that's
there,
three.
yeah, I mean, you've had, wow, I can recall being on stage with at least, you know, three Mr. Olympias and three hopefuls, and all of them would be Mr. Olympia
Right. Right.
without me.
That's so funny, man. You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
When Phil finally lost, right, to Sean Roden, 2018, I believe. When
Mhm.
that finally happened, right, there was a lot of people in the comments. I remember social media. It's like Kai Greene. He must be so eager to return immediately because he can definitely now get a chance to beat Sean Roden, right? And it
Uh,
was like I remember, yeah, people went crazy when that happened. So at that moment, right, when that happened,
uh-huh.
actually, were you like seriously considering the return to Olympia?
Oh,
Was that
wow.
something on your mind a lot?
Uh, I think that's an interesting question. Every year, I think you at some point you may have thought about it. Um, I think at this time they have a huge talent pool right now. There's a lot of talent. Um,
Kai,
there's
okay,
a
come on,
lot
man.
of
Don't just come on, man. Just just tell me, bro. Did you at that moment in 2018 when that happened, were you like seriously like considering like off the record, man? Just like you know what I mean? Did that actually off the record on the record? Did you were you like eager to jump back in?
I think there's the way to see it when from the view of the fan and the hopeful, the spectator, and then there's the athlete that's in the trenches of the experience that has to deal with the realistic. Um, so here's the thing. If they if the powers that be wanted that, it would have been.
I see
You
what you're
get what I'm
saying.
saying? If
I
so, if
see
there
what you're
was a
saying.
real, if there were at that time
Mm-hmm.
a real
Push for it.
opportunity for it, then I
Right, right,
think
right.
yeah. But if you're in a situation where you know, I think I definitely want to be responsible. I want to be respectful, and I want to definitely I want to be that steward. So there's some things that I don't think you can say as candidly when you still care, and I think when you don't care, you might choose to speak in a way that might sound very reckless, but it may in its own way
That's
just
true.
be a very clear and deliberately valid point of view. Um, uh, yeah, I think if at the end of the day, if you're ever in a situation where there's apples and oranges, and you're talking to someone that has a preference for oranges, then the banana may never win. You get me? In that choice. Um,
Sure.
I mean, I happen to like grapefruits, so
I heard, yeah.
there you go.
So so Kai, so Kai, listen. Can you, without again being politically correct, do you want to make a prediction at all? This is the Olympia week, right? But this is gonna be released basically the day before the Olympia, I believe. So, do you want to make a prediction?
Do I want to make a prediction? I mean, I think it's always appropriate. It's always responsible to encourage everyone that has the mind to come there and do their best. So for the athletes that have done the damn thing. I mean, I've seen some of these. Man, I've seen some of these some of these road to Olympia you know video journeys that are happening online. You get a chance to see some people's stuff on social media, and yeah, man, there's a lot of talent that's going to be there this year. I'm very excited um, to be a part of that.
Who do you want to
A
see win?
prediction?
Who do you want to see win? I know you mentioned Nick Walker, right? I mean, do you want to see him get his crown?
Yeah, man, I would love to see Nick Walker come up in there and put some people that you would not expect to be put on their back. I'd love to see him come up in there and do that. If I had a chance to kind of say, what my prayer would be, man, I would like to see those athletes of years past that we got a chance to witness get on stage and come up there really, really strong and present some really awesome um, goods that would say, hey, man, I would love to see this guy get it together. I would love to see Andrew Jacked. I'd love to see him get it together this year. I'd love to see him come in there and stand true to some of the promise and potential that people have been talking about seeing, for the past 4 years behind the scenes. Um, I'd love to see Hadi come up in there and represent. I've never been taller than 5'8", you know. Um, and to be quite honest, um, an athlete like Hadi Chopin really, I feel gives me an opportunity to celebrate, to see him increase. Um,
Right. You ever
you
bet on
know,
you ever bet on sports?
say that again.
Have you ever bet on sports? You ever put a bet on like online casino or something like this ever, or bet on sports like DraftKings?
The only thing I think I've been willing to, I think is a responsible thing to do when it comes to betting. the odds is betting on myself.
I was wondering if you had to put a bet on somebody, if you had to make a bet, right? If you're in Vegas, you have to make a bet. Who would you bet on?
If I had to put a bet, I'd if I had to
If you
put
had to, like you have to put a bet.
wow, let's see. If I had to bet on someone, I would possibly uh yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't bet personally. I wouldn't bet. I wouldn't bet. I'd talk a good game. I'd talk a good game, but when I had to put my own money up, I might think about things a little differently.
I feel like
I'd think about it again and again, long and hard before I put my money down.
I feel like in bodybuilding, right, to make these type of predictions or to even make a bet, you have to really follow them all closely prior to the competition, really understanding what they're looking like at the moment, right? Like I never understood how people make predictions really. Because you have to really see the physiques as they're coming up, you know what I mean? Like you have to kind of get almost a daily update.
You'd have to
You know what I'm
know
saying?
something. You'd
Like,
have to
oh yeah,
know.
like yeah.
And I'm one of the people that if it were me, I'd have to know that I know that I know.
Right,
I'd
right,
have
right.
to know that something is up.
Yeah, no, I hear you. That's I feel like it's bodybuilding is the most because in boxing you can kind of make a prediction based on a previous performance, right? Like in boxing or MMA or something, right? You can kind of compare the stats and the odds, right? Like the odds, I guess. But in bodybuilding, it's like, I mean, you can kind of look at the stats too a little bit, right? Who won last year? How did they perform this year? You can kind of build a system as well, but I
Right.
think it's way more difficult, you know, to get the winner specifically. Like maybe like you can put a bet on who's not gonna make it to top five. You can make okay, this guy is definitely not gonna probably make it to top five, you know, kind of based on the previous performances. But to guess who's gonna be the winner, I feel like is just very difficult.
Who in your opinion are you looking at? Would you be a betting man this next week? Who would you be betting on if I were to ask you, Vlad? I mean, your history in the sport is legendary. At this point, you've got more than 20 years of experience behind the scenes, both in front of the camera and behind. Who would you bet the house on if you had to
That's what I'm
this
saying.
year?
The number one spot is almost impossible. Like the top five, right? If you go just by the stats and
Uh
like the
huh.
common, I guess, knowledge, right? You would put all the previous Olympias, or at least the current Olympias, right? You put Samson, Barrick, and Hadi in that top
Uh
five
huh.
immediately, right? Based on the last 3 years of the competition, right? You definitely throw Nick Walker in there as a wild horse, kind of like, you know what I mean, like
Uh
unknown,
huh.
but still a lot of anticipation. And then and the fifth one is more difficult, I think, you know, because then it's like becomes like you kind of start dissecting a lot of things. But there's a guy from Iran that just made it to U.S. He got the visa, Birhuz, right? So he just made it to the United States finally. He got the visa, and there's a lot of buzz around him, right? A lot of buzz because he really got a lot of accolades from overseas in
Mm-hmm.
Europe and he won in Asia. Like so, he got a lot of wins, but he could never get a chance to make it here. So
Mm-hmm.
he's the biggest wild card, I think. So that's how I would form the top five. But as far as who out of them would win number one, that becomes like almost impossible, I think.
So in your opinion, let's say Hadi Chopin comes in this year at his all-time best. Is he immediately catapulted to the front, or is he still being compared?
I think that's a good question. If Hadi comes in his ultimate best, and Samson comes in his ultimate best,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whose best is best? That's what I'm trying to say, right? Like that's a difficult. Like I mean, if they both come at absolutely best, like who has a better physique then, right? Samson is taller, right? So that gives him extra points a little bit. If he's in superior shape, right? So the taller probably gets a little more like attention from the judges, probably I would say. So that puts him in better category, better odds, I would say. It's about odds, right? It's all about the odds.
Well, I tell you what, Samson from the front looks like looks like, man.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't until I mean, I grew up obviously, loving the physiques, like Lee Haney, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Uh, I think I have once gone on record saying that I didn't really give a lot of solid thought to wanting to be taller until I saw Tony Friedman when he
Mm,
was
he's
in the
great.
like full bloom of his career. I remember watching him on the Olympia stage when he was coming on really strong at the time in his, at the top of his career. They called him the X-Man then, and his lines were amazing. And I thought then when I got a chance to see him up close in person, like, damn, you know what? There's a guy that I'd want to think about. Wouldn't it be awesome if I were a taller athlete in the sport? Um, and then, and then after that, I probably didn't think about it as much. Recently, looking at some photos of Samson, I have to say that is like there's another time in my life that it's like, oh wow, damn, if I'd have been just a few inches taller, there's a physique that
But
I mean, from the front and these three-quarter angles, I mean, I've seen some stuff that just looks crazy.
but he
Um,
but if you're looking at odds and stats again, he lost at the Arnold Classic to Derek Lunsford, right? And that happened after he won the Olympias. So people might, if you're betting, you know what I mean, you might take that in consideration that Derek was able to make a comeback, beat him, also beat Nick Walker in Pittsburgh. I'm just saying. So that kind of like that means he needs to be in that as well in that conversation.
have you seen Derek Lunsford? I remember seeing him in person. Um, I think just after he turned pro. Now, mind you, he's not a guy that's 6 feet tall. We're not talking about a guy that's six
Right.
feet and better. However, I can recall running into him and thinking, wow, you know what, this dude is just really cartoon characteristically thick. He is a very thick and I'm gonna say beautifully shaped physique, because for as short as he is, and mind you, I mean to call him short might say it's disrespectful. I don't mean to say that he's short, but I mean the dude was about my height, if not a little bit shorter. I'm not kidding, but you want to talk about just amazingly packed with muscle. I remember making notice of that years before he actually got to the Olympia stage. I did not imagine in my wildest dreams, though, that he was going to be able to improve on that. I mean, seeing him from the rear, you could take pictures of different body parts, his arms, his calves, his legs, separately, his back. I mean, you know, just for photo stock value alone, this dude has a lot of really strong attributes to his credit, and that's not common with every athlete, you
No,
know.
it's not.
But yeah,
Anyway, so let's see what happens. Let's see what happens this weekend. All right, Kai, we need to move on to the next topic. Actually, so the next topic is a Patreon special because it has to do with banned substances, and
uh,
as people may know, the uncensored version of this podcast is featured on our Patreon channel. All right, Kai, you ready for the lightning round of questions?
yes,
So we
yes.
have three questions today. One of them is, I guess it's gonna be for Patreon because it has to do with illegal substances again. But anyway, let's get into it. So the rules are you give a lightning speed answer, right? That's the only rule here.
Uh-huh.
All right. So the first one coming from Forever Flexing. Okay. So he made some, I think, spelling mistakes here. So I'll do my best reading it.
Uh-oh.
What changed for Kai in bodybuilding in his own on his own funds to getting okay? What changed in Kai for Kai's bodybuilding while he was using his own funds to getting sponsors? What books does he recommend? If he had a bodybuilding, if he had to have a bodybuilder from bodybuilding in 70s, 80s, 90s, or early 2000s, whose physique would he want? It's a lot of questions here. One thing, one thing overlooked commonly for up and coming bodybuilders. Diesel D. So it's like 3 questions or 4 questions here. He just walked out of the house. Hey man,
Okay.
what happened? You okay?
Yo, man, I just got attacked by ninjas, man. Ninjas. You can't live with them and you can't live without them. Ninjas are real.
Wow.
Just kidding. Kidding.
All right, Kai. So did you get that last question or no?
No, give it to me again.
All
Lay it
right.
on me, Vlad. Lay it on me.
All right. So forever flexing. He's asking here, what changed for Kai's bodybuilding when he was competing on his own funds to getting sponsors? What books does he recommend? If he had to have bodybuilding body from 70s, 90s, or early 2000s, whose physique would he want? One thing overlooked commonly for up and coming bodybuilders, Diesel D. So that's like 5 questions he's asking here. Did any specific ones that you like there, or you want to answer them all?
So first, right off the bat, if I had to choose between the bodies of today versus another time in the sport, I
Who's
think it's no question the bodies of the '90s were amazing. But the interesting thing about that is there was a lot of things had to be kind of worked out to find the right place to place them. Um, I know we all can remember what Flex Wheeler looked like, you know, when he was at the top of his career. In fact, the first 2 years that he turned pro, after taking 3 years to get through the nationals, he swept through the top three, you know, big pro shows of our sport, you know, in like one season, you know. Um, I think at that time, you know, that physique represented a highlight of, you know, what can be achieved in the sport. I mean, it was amazing. But a lot of people would have thought and said in theory, bodybuilding theory, that Flex Wheeler was still too small at that time. Can you imagine that? Flex Wheeler competing at like, you know, 220, 215. You know, he looked like a He-Man action figure, you know, from the 80s. Um, you know, you think about a physique like uh, just a lot of physiques that technically were beautiful physiques, but you know, at that time in the sport, you know, we didn't have a classic physique category. It didn't have even a 212, which was, I think, for a lot of athletes, an opportunity to stutter step and kind of develop their legs beneath them and create options for them just in case, you know, just before they had to commit
hmm
to becoming, you know, much more larger. And with that, you know, building into, I guess, more structural irregularities that would come as a result of trying to get bigger, even bigger than that. So I think the '90s, we got a chance to see some really awesome physiques in amazing condition. You know, you think about you know, Milo Sarcev, you know, amazing condition. Um, um, I think if I had to talk about what are some of the things that a young athlete would want to, you know, be aware of, you know, the seasons of this sport and your career. You know, when I was a younger athlete, I used to think that everything was all about gains, and I didn't think to question what kind of gains should I be looking for at different times in my life and career, you know, because gains are not the same. You know, the size of my back, you know, today, you know, will come and go, but the size of my vision will be the thing that will determine just how, you know, responsive and how responsible I can be
hmm
um, with just mitigating those changes that are necessary to grow my career.
All right, let's go to the next one. So this one,
Yeah,
th-
next one.
this one's from Infinite Presence Q5F. All right, so he's or she's asking the following: suppose hypertrophy and competition are removed from the equation. Does your training remain as a ritual of body maintenance, or does it become a medium for revelation of self, of truth, of something beyond muscle?
Yeah, I think there's a huge therapeutic benefit to training. I think most people on average get a chance to discover that earlier on. I think it's one of the first positives that we can discover that's a product of training, most of us can talk about, even if you've never heard of it before, the positive, hormone release that comes in, from, elevating your heart rate, pushing yourself, and actually experiencing the ability to overcome, obstacles, or even, gaining ability to elevate the levels of resistance that you're able to contract your muscles against. I think there's this huge therapeutic benefit to training. Um, and yeah, with that, if hypertrophy were removed from the equation altogether, um, there's a wonderful slew of benefits that would still be offered anyone that, if they're looking for it, aspiring to train.
All right, and then last question is definitely a Patreon material because this is about the PEDs again. All right, that's all we have, man. That
Movie.
was a lightning round, and we are done.
Uh-oh. Well, hopefully we'll have some good editing on this because, brother, I feel very distracted today. Very, very, very distracted.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Well, I guess we'll talk after the Olympia to see if who won and go from there.
Oh, well, I'm sure we should have some highlights, man. Highlights would be great. You
Yeah,
know.
definitely. We'll get some footage there of your booth.
Oh, that's what's up. Well, Vlad, thank you again. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, you're hearing yours truly, K with the AKA Mr. Getting It Done. And I'm joined by Vlad Uden. This has been the Kai Greene Effect, and we are going to call it to a close. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for paying attention. And we want you to come on back because we're going to have so much more stuff to share with you. And hopefully, I'll even be without this hoodie on. Ha! I'm just kidding.
Probably not
Yes,
gonna
yes.
happen. All right, man.
Hey, on that note, we're going to let it go. We are out. Over. Until next time, let's keep it positive. Let's remember to keep encouraging each other. Peace.